Today we're taking a look at these MLB matches, which are happening on Monday, June 26, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and to push the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also check out our Patreon if you want access to our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link to our Patreon in the description and comments section below. Cincinnati Reds vs Baltimore Orioles. The Reds' 12-game win streak came to an end Saturday, and that rolled into Sunday as they suffered their first losing streak in 2 weeks. Both of their losses to the Braves were by 7-6 scores, with the team collecting 11 hits and 6 walks in Sunday's tilt. Rookie Matt McLain had a career day on Sunday, going 4-for-5 with a home run, double, 5 RBIs and 2 runs scored. The Cincinnati second baseman has 9 multi-hit efforts in the month of June. Cincinnati needed 6 pitchers to get through Sunday's game, due in large part to the 9 total walks they distributed. On the year, the Reds' pitching staff has given up 721 hits and 289 walks through 78 games, both the 4th highest amount by any team in the game. The Reds' 4.98 team ERA ranks 27th overall. Williamson will be making just the 8th start of his career. In his last outing, the rookie southpaw allowed 3 runs on 6 hits against the Rockies. He has thrown at least 5 innings in each of his last 4 starts, and the Reds have gone 6-1 when Williamson has chewed the rubber this season. The O's picked up a second straight win over the Mariners on Sunday, giving them a 4-2 mark over their last 6 games. Despite the record in that stretch, they were outscored 35-26. Baltimore pitching has allowed 344 runs through 76 games, placing them 16th overall. They have a 4.26 team ERA, 1.32 WHIP and a .255 opponent batting average. Irvin will make his 6th start of the season after making his last appearance out of the bullpen. Last Wednesday, the lefty pitched an inning in relief at Tampa Bay, giving up a run on 2 hits and walk. As a starter this season, he is 1-3 with a 7.77 ERA, allowing 19 earned runs and 28 hits in 22 innings. On the offensive side, the Orioles remain productive, hitting .253 as a team through 76 games, 14th overall. They've collected 650 hits and scored 370 runs. Their 60 stolen bases are tied for 10th overall. Baltimore's lineup features 6 players with 30 or more RBIs, with Anthony Santander leading the club with 47. On Sunday, the O's right fielder hit a home run for the 3rd straight game and his 4th in his last 5 games. This will be the first time Santander has faced Cincinnati in his career. The Reds have a history of bouncing back after losing 2 games in a row. In their most recent 2 losses, they were both close games against the first-place Atlanta Braves. The Reds' offense has also been averaging 7.5 runs per game over their last 8 games. Additionally, the Reds have a good record when Williamson is their starter, winning all but one of his outings this year. The Orioles have won 2 games in a row, but they were both close games against the Seattle Mariners. Prior to those 2 wins, the Orioles had gone 3-5 over their prior 8 games. The Reds have a better record in recent games, and they have a better record against the Orioles in recent matchups. Therefore, I recommend betting on the Reds on the money line. The Reds and Orioles are 2 of the most offensively potent teams in baseball. In fact, 83 of their combined games have gone over the total, meaning that more runs were scored than the betting line predicted. The Reds have been particularly hot lately, scoring at least 13 runs in 6 of their last 8 games. The Orioles have also been scoring plenty of runs, with 4 of their last 6 games having 9 or more runs scored. Both teams have a history of putting up big numbers, and I expect this game to be no different. The over is 4-0 in the Reds' last 4 games against teams with winning records, and it is 4-0 in the Orioles' last 4 games as the home team. Therefore, I recommend betting on the over in this game. Milwaukee Brewers vs New York Mets. Milwaukee defeated the Cleveland Guardians in their most recent contest by a score of 5-4 in 10 innings. Owen Miller had a pair of hits and 2 RBIs, while Christian Yelich and Blake Perkins also had 2 hits each. 5 different players had a walk, and Joey Wiemer scored twice in the win. Corbin Burns went 5.2 innings and gave up 4 runs with 3 strikeouts and 2 walks. The bullpen of the Brewers did a great job holding down the Guardians for the rest of the night. Rowdy Tellez and Willie Adames are leading Milwaukee in home runs with 12 each, and Adames is tied with Brian Anderson and Christian Yelich with 34 RBIs. Interestingly, there isn't a true star on the team in the hitting department, as every single player has an OPS of less than .800. Owen Miller is the only person to be batting above .275, with a .283 batting average in 198 at-bats. While Yelich leads the team in OBP, he also has the highest slugging and OPS on the team for those who have more than 60 at-bats. The Brewers have some excellent pitching on their roster, but they have slipped a bit in their performances. Julio Teheran and Wade Miley have had solid years so far, with ERAs under 3.00. Closer Devin Williams has blown only one save in 14 opportunities and has a 1.75 ERA as the bullpen leader. The New York Mets lost their latest game against the Philadelphia Phillies by a score of 7-6. Pete Alonso did his best with 2 hits, including a homer and 3 RBIs, but nobody outside of the top 4 batters were able to produce an RBI. 4 different players had 2 hits each, and Omar Narvaez had a pair of walks. Carlos Carrasco went only 4 innings, but gave up only 2 earned runs with 5 strikeouts and 2 walks. Unfortunately, the Mets collapsed in the 8th inning and gave up 4 runs to lose the game. Pete Alonso has been the power bat among all of the batters on the Mets this season, bashing 24 home runs, while the player with the next most has only 15. Alonso is also the leader in RBIs with 55, slugging percentage with a .537, and ops with .855. Brandon Nimmo has the highest batting average, .283, and OBP, .374, among all New York hitters so far. The New York starters have been average, but when the expectations are high, only the best will do. Kodai Senga leads the rotation with a 3.52 ERA so far, exactly the person you would have guessed would be leading. David Robertson has returned to prime form with only 6 earned runs, given up in 33 innings pitched, and has 11 saves in 13 opportunities this season. Both the Mets and Brewers need to win this game to boost their confidence and stay relevant in the playoff race. However, I am more confident in the Mets winning at home with Verlander on the mound. Ray has had an ERA above 4.75 in April, May, and June this year, and he has also given up 4 runs in 3 of his last 5 starts. The Mets are a better home team than the Brewers, and they have a better record against teams above .500. The Mets pitching has been their biggest weakness, but with Verlander on the mound, they should be able to limit the damage. Additionally, the Mets are 51-23 in their last 74 home games against right-handed pitchers, and the Brewers are 0-4 in their last 4 Monday games. Therefore, I recommend betting on the Mets with a run line. The Mets are expected to score a lot of runs against the Brewers, especially with Pete Alonso back in the lineup. The Mets have scored the second most runs in their division, and Ray has been a weak pitcher for the Brewers this season. Verlander is a great pitcher, but he has also had some bad starts this year. I believe that the Mets will score at least 4 runs against Verlander, and the Brewers will also score at least a few runs. The bullpens for both teams have been shaky, so I expect this game to be high scoring. The Brewers have gone over the total in their last 4 first games of a series, and the Mets have gone over the total in their last 4 of 5 Monday games. Therefore, I recommend betting on the over in this game. Minnesota Twins vs Atlanta Braves. The Twins have been up and down over the last week, enduring both a 3-game losing streak and a 3-game winning streak. With a 6-3 win in extra innings on Sunday afternoon, Minnesota secured 2 out of 3 games in a series against the Detroit Tigers. Minnesota came from behind to tie the game in the 8th inning and pushed 3 more across in the 10th to increase its lead in the AL Central to 1.5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. While sluggers Carlos Correa and Joey Gallo carried the load on Saturday, it was the role players that pushed Minnesota across the finish line on Sunday. Christian Vasquez, Willie Castro and Royce Lewis combined to go 7 for 13, and each contributed offensively in the 10th. Lewis extended his hitting streak to 7 games with a 3 for 4 performance. The Braves faced off against the Cincinnati Reds this weekend, with both teams in first place, thanks to long winning streaks. Atlanta was on an 8-game winning streak before losing to the Reds on Friday, 11-10, in a back-and-forth contest. But the Braves got revenge on Saturday and Sunday in a pair of highly contested 1-run decisions in front of big crowds in Cincinnati. Atlanta is now 10-1 in its last 11 games and has averaged 8 runs over the span, thanks to one of the deepest and most powerful lineups in all of baseball. First baseman Matt Olson led the charge this weekend with 4 home runs and 8 RBI in 3 games and now has 11 long balls over the past month. Olson is tied with Shohei Ohtani of the Angels for the most home runs in baseball, with 25 this season. Second baseman Ozzie Albies has also heated up over the past 2 weeks and went deep for the 18th time in Saturday's victory. Right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. has continued his MVP caliber 2023 campaign with a modest 7-game hitting streak over the last week, including 2 hits on Sunday. I believe that the Twins have a good chance of winning this game. Spencer Strider has been a good pitcher for the Braves this season, but he has struggled at home with an ERA of 4.62. Sonny Gray, on the other hand, has been a very good pitcher all season, and he has had a lot of success against the Braves in the past. The Braves' current roster has a lifetime batting average of .217 against Gray, and they have not hit a home run against him in 92 at-bats. Atlanta is coming off of a long winning streak, but they are also coming off of a highly contested series against the Reds. Additionally, the Braves have traveled a lot recently, and they may be starting to feel the effects of that. The Twins have been playing well recently, and I believe that they will be able to cover the run line with Gray on the mound. Therefore, I recommend betting on the Twins plus 1.5 runs. I like Minnesota's chances in this game, but they certainly aren't going to hang with Atlanta by outscoring them. The Twins win a lot of tight, low-scoring contests, and I think that's what this is shaping up to be. Both starting pitchers are making a case to be a 2023 All-Star selection, and both bullpens rank in the top 10 in ERA. Minnesota's offense hasn't been consistent enough or productive enough to expect a high run total against Strider, but the Braves' struggles against Gray in the past don't give me faith that they'll score in waves on Monday like they have been over the past week or two. Expect a pitcher's duel and side with the under.